Good evening, everybody. I'm back once again with another terrifying tale, focusing on a very common fear, something we come across quite often through movies, scary stories, and well, this one's going to be slightly different to the others. As preferred to being a singular story, I want it to be ongoing, and something I'd love to do to be more interactive. I'd love to hear from you guys in the comment section, any suggestions you would like to hear on what happens in the next part. Also, please be sure to let me know if there are any other phobias or fears you would like to hear me cover in future stories. However, for the time being, I'd like to introduce this one I call a domestic nightmare. Several years after trying, and finally, it's happened. We are pregnant. My husband and I are elated and ecstatic. Tonight, we're going to head out for dinner, something we very rarely do. Later that night, after a very exquisite meal, our eyes meet, our smiles embrace in a solemn silence. The headlights and road signs all pass in a blur as we near our address. As we reach the front door, Rick turns his key as a sudden unease washes over me. It's hard to fully describe, but the feeling was similar to that as a hand on my shoulder, a gentle voice uttering, "Don't go in there." However, I didn't say anything, and Rick's opened the door already. We head inside. He flicks the lights on. However, the feeling is still there. Even in the light, something just doesn't seem right. He turns to me. "Babe, you okay?" I stand transfixed at the wall, leading up to our stairs, noticing all our photo frames are missing. I enter the kitchen, and again, all the photos are gone. I hear Rick calling me from the lounge. I enter the room. No need to ask. Every one of the photo frames in the house was sitting there, dead center in the room, in a spiraling tower, a twisted spine of memories erected from the ground up. Despite its shape, the structure was fixed. I turned to Rick, hoping for him to explain, to simplify like he usually does. That night, we didn't speak a word of it. We barely spoke a word at all. That night changed our lives. It became the night that awoke our nightmares. The following morning, I rehanged each photo. Still, I couldn't help but question what happened that night. Hanging each frame back onto the wall, I couldn't help but feel attacked, that our family had been targeted. Nothing else other than the photos had been touched. Nothing. The house felt different. Later on that day, as we reached night, Rick was at work. I couldn't help but feel exposed. Unsure of whether I'm being dramatic, I decided to call my sister. Sadly, my family live on the other side of the country, and so phone contact is more than often our only resort. Upon hearing her voice and her relentlessly optimistic character, I couldn't help but feel a little bit better about everything. We had a few laughs, reminisced, and started talking baby names. when suddenly the call dropped. I called back and it wouldn't connect. I tried again and no luck. The house suddenly felt cold, darker, and somehow bigger. I felt like a child home alone, having heard the doorbell ring. The sense of urgency, tackled by an excess of dread and vulnerability. The air grew heavy as a deep hum resonated in my ears. I felt sharp pricks like cold needles pick at my flesh. Tears forming in my eyes. I want so much to move, to go to my room, to feel safe. However, just as quickly as it started, it was gone. I took a deep breath. The light seemed to have returned, and that horrific hum feels like it receded, like it's echoing, distant. I cautiously make my way out of the kitchen and begin up the stairs, when a sudden crash causes me to jump. I pause momentarily to turn and see a photo frame of Rick and I lying on the wooden floor. The frame is intact, but somehow the photo is torn through the centre. The image melted. I rush to the door. It's locked. In my panic, I continue turning the door handle as the sound of heavy footsteps slam from upstairs is coming from the room above. Our room. Then a second, a third. Someone is up there. Someone is coming for me. My throat dries and tightens. I cannot scream. I'm frozen still, unable to move once more. The deep hum intensifies. My body grows cold, and my eyes sting as salty tears dwell. Fourth, fifth, sixth. It's nearing the stairs. Each step louder, heavier, shaking the house, breaking my mind. The entire upstairs enshrouds in a thick darkness, violating and strangling all light, tightening its grip as its anger burns. I remember the keys. I shake myself free, grabbing the keys from the kitchen counter. The footsteps intensifying, nearing. I refuse to look. I can't. I struggle with the keys. At the door, finally, it sounds with a loud click. Several hours later, I'm awoken by a knocking. Rick looks at me confused as I awake from the car driver's seat, from the front of the house. He opens the car door and holds me. Hey, what's going on? I look up at him, strangling for words to explain. My face a collage of dried tears and mascara. I simply pull him towards me, embracing him. A few weeks have passed. I've still not explained anything to him. I know what I felt, heard, but there hasn't been anything since. It almost feels like it never happened. Although there's still this odd sense something's lingering in the cracks, the crevices in the house. Fortunately, I haven't seen or heard anything, but I can feel it like a forgotten song. I lay in my bed, warm and safe. Everything always feels better when he's home, when I'm not alone, and I feel protected. I nestle into our bed, feeling his warmth around me, the sense of not only comfort but safety, whether or not he's aware. That's how him being near has me feeling in the least of words. I feel my muscles loosen as I surrender myself to slumber, allowing my worries, my stresses to fade, as I embrace sweet dreams. My eyes grow heavy, and my body becomes light. My vision fades, as I feel myself slowly falling to sleep, when I am suddenly gripped by a familiar, dreaded sensation. My senses are assaulted by a familiar, resonating, deep hum. A low-pitched drone building gradually. My skin tingles, freezes over, as though exposed to sharp winter air. I look around the room, our door near closed. The light in our room is off, but the light from the hallway brings a gentle glow inside. I cannot see nor hear anything other than that horrid hum, that vibration. A heavy footstep begins from the staircase, or at least I think so, when a second, a third, creaks follow, generating a macabre image of something ascending our stairs. My body is almost static. With all my strength, I grip Rick's wrist and beg through my teeth, "Wake up, please wake up." No luck. He merely takes a deep, heavy breath, a prisoner to his sleep, and leaving me hostage to his nightmare. Another loud footstep, then another. It's almost at the landing. I beg him again, albeit my throat has grown dry. "Wake up, please, wake up." Again, he doesn't respond. I try with all my strength to pull at him, although the closer that thing is, the less I seem to be able to move, to cry out. His steps are slowing down, stomping down the landing, nearing our bedroom. My breathing is stuttering as my heart pounds in my chest, tightening in my throat. I lay helpless. The safety I felt has been stolen, my comfort restricted, as it strips me of all that gives me hope and happiness. My eyes race, darting about the room as I struggle to manipulate my body, still gripping onto my other half. My heart drops as the hallway light flickers, as the house descends into darkness. The footsteps finally reach our door, and all becomes deafeningly silent. A moment devolves, deceiving time, betraying my senses. The silence is finally torn open as our door slowly creeps open. I tense up, trying so hard to keep my eyes shut. I feel beads of cold sweat streaming down my back, my senses in array as the room draws in silence, a disturbing quiet after the door opens, welcoming a chilled air to fill the room, like an open freezer pumping a mist of cool fear. A creak, it's in the room. My eyelids strain. I feel an unwavering desire to see what it is. But if I do, I know it's nothing more than my mind, my tiredness. But that's all in jest, as another creak ensues. It's at the end of the bed. I can feel someone staring down at me. Someone who is screaming to be rid of me, like a child caught in the area of accusation by a cruel adult's prejudice, their malice to the youth that they have lost. The duvet is tugged. It budged so slightly, but I know it happened. I paused, waiting, hoping this is still a nightmare, for I should suddenly awake. Instead, the duvet is tugged again, aggressively. Suddenly, I'm pulling it from my own grip, and finally, it wins, as the duvet recedes from my chest, my hips, to leaving us both fully exposed. I tremble, shaking, crying, tears forming and fall as I continue to clench my eyes. I fail to control my breathing, my throat painfully dry, my body froze with another sweat and cold terror. A burning sensation cuts into me, my legs scorching as my adrenaline surges. I shoot up, my body alive, awake with pain. I scream violently, crying and shaking, my eyes open as Rick is now awake. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed that one. That's only the first part, as I said before. This can either get worse, darker. If you guys want to see that happen, I'd love to hear what you guys would think. What scenarios I could introduce perhaps. Please let me know in the comments section. I'm always willing to hear any ideas for any upcoming stories, any phobias or fears you would like to share with me. I'm more than interested to find out. You can even hit me up on my Instagram at OpenGraveEffects, where I showcase my practical effects. However, for the time being, be sure to share the scares. And as always, keep it creepy.